I don't even know where to start. I guess we'll start with Let It Roll, the new CD.
Thank you.
Because I love it.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Got the advance copy. I think that every song on it pretty much portrays George as he would have wanted to, including the live stuff from the concert for Bangladesh.
Thank you, because I think so too. And I know, fans are saying there's no unreleased material. And, the best of George Harrison was an album that people bought when they wanted to go and have something of George's. The last track on it was made in 1976. Mm-hmm. There was just a huge gap there, and I don't think it just wasn't fair to have the best of George that ended in 1976.
Right.
And that's really what this is for. This is really a collection when people go, and they always buy the best of, but I think they deserve something more comprehensive. And that's what this is, although to the fans it's not as comprehensive as they think it should be, and I agree. But for now, I think it's a good representation of the different decades of George's life.
I'm sorry, but if you put 1,000 people in a room and asked what their favorite George Harrison songs were, you'd probably get 1,000 different answers.
I know.
It's next to impossible, and I think it's a real good representation. Now, I don't know how many people are aware of it, but the liner notes say it was remixed or remastered by Giles Martin.
It was Paul Hicks and Giles remastered it, and they remastered the ones that had been remastered. And even now, I think, they sound better than they have. I think technology and just the way people approach digital now is a much more natural sound.
Well, I think the funny thing about this is, and the differences are very subtle, but the differences are definitely there. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people would go, well, wait a minute, this doesn't sound... And listen carefully to this, because it is a little more clear.
Yeah, it is, and it's probably a little closer to what it was meant to be.
Yes.
So I think the digital sound is sort of settled down a bit.
Right. And, I think that Giles, let's face it, as we get a little bit older, Giles' dad has admitted to being hard of hearing. He probably spent way too much time in studios with the speakers blaring.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know many people are having trouble hearing.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Giles has definitely got his dad's talent for that.
He does.
As we found out.
He has a great sensibility.
Yeah.
And a lot of respect, and he knows the catalog pretty much inside out.
Probably had to learn a little bit of it especially when they put the Love Project together.
I think the Love Show was really, really good for him because they had to dissect all those songs.
Yes.
And, how do you get somebody up to speed for what George Martin knew? It's pretty difficult. So I think Giles stands, the best chance.
Yes. Absolutely. I didn't get the chance to congratulate you on George's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Thank you.
Talked to a lot of people that went, enjoyed the ceremonies, and I can't wait I got to find the time to get up there myself.
Oh, that's nice. It was a really great afternoon, and a lot more pleasant and relaxed than I thought it would be.
Tom Hanks and the Monty Python's
Eric
Idle. Yeah, I guess it was a little too. It was well after the fact that we really got the full intent and the full involvement of George with the whole Monty Python troupe. But he must have thought they were the best.
Oh yeah, he did, and I think from the time I met George in '74, he was already well into Monty Python. Mm-hmm. And knew all their sketches.
Well, let's see. You've got the Rock Band Project. Mm-hmm. The Beatles, the rock band The Beatles. That comes out on September 9th. Mm-hmm. Have you learned to play the songs yet?
No, I haven't. I'm not sure. I did try to do some of the harmonies. Mm-hmm. They're more challenging than you would imagine.
Well, a lot of people, yeah. No, I could imagine. As those of us, especially the Beatles aficionados, have tried to dissect. Every time you hear a Beatles song, even every day when you hear the George songs, you always hear something you didn't hear before.
Well, that's true, and even now,
Yep.
Yeah, I think it depends on your state of mind as well.
Well, I guess so. I guess, I've become to even more respect George's work over the last 7-8 years, and just because you see how thoughtful he really was. And
I feel the same way. I hear songs and I often think, God, I hope I told him how good that song is. I hope I told him how much I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did.
Yeah. The Rock Band project, and then the Beatles catalog itself being remastered and re-released on the 9th of September. Mm-hmm. Were you involved in that? I'm sure in some way you were.
No, in some way, but, again, those were remastered really carefully, and a lot of time went into that. The Apple team, the staff at Apple went through the archives, and for years they've been going through the archives, thousands of photographs, and I think the fact that the remasters are only coming out now is a good thing, because I think people are going to get more from it than they might have 5 years ago.
Well, as
we hadn't actually, tapped into the archive in the way we have now.
Right. I think that, as we found out, every time you get to hear a Beatles song, you mentioned it, the songs sound different each time, or you hear something different. And again, the chance to hear them differently than we've ever heard before. And I think we've just gotten the tip of the iceberg with the Let It Roll CD, because of as you mentioned, people have finally figured out the digital technology, even though it's been around for 20, 30 years. But we're just now getting into it and learning how to do it correctly.
I think they sound better now. All music that's being remastered now tends to sound better than it did even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
With the digital, but
there's
so much more to do.
I ran across an article on the Mini Cooper.
That's right.
Now, this is this a replica of George's Mini Cooper? Is this the original?
It's as much of a replica as it can be. It's not identical, but we've used the same artwork. Of course, the Mini Cooper is a new, body shape.
Sure. So
they didn't, the artwork didn't exactly fit, but it's really beautiful, and you can see it on George's website. BMW donated that to Material World, and we're going to auction that to benefit Material World.
Now, when is the auction?
The auction is going to be in September by Bonhams, and there will be more information on the website as to that sale. There'll be a lot that goes along with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a busy time for you, I know, but it's all good. And just as being one of the fans of George Harrison, we thank you for letting us get yet another look into his life and into his music. It's just what he was all about. I think I don't know why. But when you take a look at when he really got his spiritual thing going with the trip, the visits to India, and just learning about what he was all about, it is just truly fascinating.
No, he was the most interesting person. He was really unique, and he had a different slant on everything.
And I can't tell you how many people have looked at pictures of Danny and said, "That's George."
I know.
Right there.
I know.
And I imagine, as a mom, you look at him every day and you go, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. But I know in photographs, sometimes I've had to think, is that Danny or is that George?
Well, being a father, I look at my kids the same way. And every day there's something new about them. But that's true. I know he has got his musical career going. Does it frustrate him sometimes that he is not as... How do I say this? I guess the world is not as gaga over Danny yet as they were over George and the other three guys.
No, I don't think he has any. That was a phenomenon and something else. Danny's having a good time with his music, and I think the main thing for him is, like I tell him, just. You want to play. Don't worry about what anybody else says,
I don't think he has to worry.
No, and that's it. He's really starting to have a good time.
Terrific. Well, Olivia, thank you so much for the talk.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time, and when you get down to San Diego, you can come to our little radio station anytime.